Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Rooster Stone Podcast. I'm Mel, and this is my friend Mike. We're going to talk to you a little bit today about songs that we're listening to right now. The show is called What Are You Listening To? And this is going to be a foundational show to this podcast. We're going to just talk to you a little bit about the kinds of music that we're listening to right now. What's spinning in our Spotify list or our Apple Music list. So let's just hit it right away, Mike. Why don't you give us a go and get started with the first song?
Okay. The first one is I Will Dare by The Replacements. It's off of their 1984 Let It Be release. I first heard this one back in the 80s on college radio, but I didn't know the artist of the album. It was pre-internet.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard it a handful of times after that, but it never registered with me that it was The Replacements.
Right.
Just because it's a little bit different from some
Mm-hmm.
of their other
It
songs.
is.
Then it came up on Spotify during COVID, and it was like, I need to save this. So I've been listening to it, revisiting it ever since. The jangly rhythm guitar, Paul Westerberg's voice, and his lyrics, the whole pop punk vibe before pop punk was an actual style that was recognized. Just reel me in. Same way like the Clash does.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's for me. So yeah.
This is such a great choice. And I got into so many songs that I forgot about during COVID as well. And I think a lot of people did. We had more time, so we kind of just let ourselves get lost. But I love this band. I love this choice. That ever moving guitar lick is just righteous. The solo is so 60s. The Replacements, man. Excellent choice.
Thank you.
So, my first song is a song called Pieces of My Heart. This is a song from a band called Bombargo. This is a brand new single from 2024, and it is an absolutely flawless 80s style pop rock song. I don't know about you, but to me it sounded a lot like Michael McDonald circa like 1984. Incidentally, I first came across this band when I listened to Rooster Stone Radio. Now, this is something that Spotify does to come up with a match of music that are kind of like bands of the band you're listening to. In this case, I kind of wondered about, well, who are they matching up with our band? Because that's our band, Rooster Stone. And so this song that came on was called Pour Me Another, and that was a totally different kind of song. It was more like a 80s style, metal or rock song, which is very much like the album we just released in June. So they have a wide variety of styles that they write, kind of like our band does. And so you have to check these guys out. They are top notch. The band's called Bombargo.
This one was so fun. I'd never heard of Embargo before, but I'll definitely be checking them out more. Um, it's poppy and driving and fun in all the right ways. And I had to double check the release date on it to make sure that it was this year because it really sounds like something from the 80s.
I totally agree with you. That was excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
good choice.
Yeah, thanks, man. So what do you got for number two?
Okay, number two is by the Peat Bog Fairies, a Scottish band. The song's called Nyup. I'm not totally positive about the pronunciation, but we'll
You
talk
know
about
what,
that in
man?
a
I
minute.
think it sounds good to me.
Yeah, this one's from 2007. The release is What Men Deserve to Lose. I've been listening to a lot of Pete Bog Fairies over the last 2 or 3 years, so I could have picked a bunch of their songs.
Absolutely.
As you know, I've had the opportunity to go to Ireland a few times, and in getting into Irish trad music and some of the contemporary bands that are influenced by trad, I also was getting into more Celtic music and Scottish bands doing the same thing with the Scottish music.
Right.
So as I discovered the fairies 2 or 3 years ago, and I say discovered with tongue in cheek because they've been around since 1991.
Right. Right.
They do a lot of Scottish dance music, more like club, as in club music, not traditional jig kind of stuff. But I picked this song, because I'm a sucker for songs with this kind of chord progression. It's just a couple of chord progression, or a couple of chord changes in it, but I'm a sucker for that. And
Yeah.
I noticed that in some things. This one has a little bit more rock and roll vibe than some of the other stuff that they do. And you could definitely hear the traditional Scottish influence though in the fiddle part.
Right.
I love that. Love the fiddle part. I also really like the horn parts.
Right.
Was trying to find out if the title meant anything specific, and the only thing I could find was something mentioned in their liner notes, where it says the band says it's a fun word to pepper your conversation with. Repeat as necessary. Yup. So I'm guessing on the pronunciation.
I love it.
like
I love
Yeah.
it. I really like this song. It was, the greatest band name ever, by the way, Pete Bog Fairies.
Yeah.
But the textures of the song and that electric fiddle, man, that just gets me up. That sounds so good on this track.
Yeah.
Excellent choice.
Thank
Excellent
you.
choice. So for my second song, I chose the song Wave of Mutilation UK Surf by the Pixies. This is a B side to Here Comes Your Man, which was released in 1989. So this song has another version that was from the album, but this was a B-side and kind of more of a surfy style version of it. And this song is so nostalgic for me in both its original form and the UK surf version that I've chosen today. From the moment the drums kick in and then the bass and then that faraway guitar, it just whisks me away to the 15-year-old kid that I used to be. All the concerns, all my hopes and dreams, all the lost loves that would never be. Black Francis's voice is so unique, both to this band and to the period, before everyone started to sound the same. This band deserves a deep dive. If you haven't listened to them for a while or if you've never listened to them, this song just does it for me. The Pixies.
Nice. Yeah. So I'll admit I wasn't really into the Pixies, when they were first out early on
Mm-hmm.
back in those days. But then I grew up and that totally changed. Yeah, so I liked a lot of stuff. But I hadn't heard this version, so thank you for
Mm-hmm.
putting it on.
Absolutely.
I really dig the dreamy, reverby surf guitar that's on
Mm-hmm.
there. It totally fits the song.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a
yeah,
good one.
yeah.
All right, what do you got for number three?
Number three, Is This World Not Enough by Gary Newman
Mm-hmm.
from Intruder album. So yes, that Gary Newman, the guy with the U.S. #1 hit in the early '80s, Cars.
Yeah.
This song is from the Intruder album from 2021, so a little bit later. It has a little of the same Gary Newman formula as Cars in that it heavily uses keyboards, but it adds them in different spots in the song to create layers, dynamics, and intensity. It starts off kind of low and dark and it builds from there. It's a slow driving song, but you can hear the Middle Eastern influence in the melodies, which is something that is prevalent on this particular album.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Newman is a big influencer of Trent Reznor, Nine Inch Nails, and I really like a lot of their songs.
Mm-hmm.
But you can really hear the influence on Nine Inch Nails stuff from this track. It's kind of neat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the album is from an apocalyptic concept album, and then the theme is inspired by a poem that his youngest daughter wrote.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my
Wow.
opinion, Gary still got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, Gary, dude.
yeah.
When I listened to this song, I was like, dude, Tube Way Army.
Yes,
I was so into
yes,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
what a great tune. So for my last song, I chose something, sort of, and now for something completely different to everything else we've been saying. I chose the song Take the Long Way Home by Supertramp from their absolutely righteous album, Breakfast in America, 1979. Here is another mega nostalgic tune for me. This one takes me back to childhood and listening to the radio in the car or at the county pool. I can almost still hear this song blaring through the loudspeakers with all the kids splashing around, eating hot fries and doing cannonballs. The harmonica intro of this tune, it just builds and builds into this majestic, joyful, glorious anthem. That first chorus when the organ joins the fray just puts me up every time. But that dueling solo with the harmonica and the tenor sax, OMG. This song has so many layers. Supertramp was one of those mega pop bands from the late 70s and the early 80s. They have all died out, and their like is not to be seen in this world again. Teardrop, Supertramp, baby.
Agreed. This is a stellar song from a band that, unlike the Pixies, I've always loved.
Mm-hmm.
Always loved Supertramp. From the intro to the ending, it's just so well crafted and produced, and you can hear the care and all of that. And it's one of those songs that you're too busy jamming along with the fact that it's a great song to realize that the musicians are really good Like when you go to sit down, or if you try to learn some of the songs, it's like, oh, there's a lot more going on here.
Yeah,
So
it was
it's
one of
such a
those
good
super
choice.
bands, and it just is, and it's so bouncy, and it just gets in you.
Yeah.
So those are our songs that we're listening to right now, folks. So you can go ahead, if you have Spotify, you'll be able to get on social media, where you can follow Rooster Stone either at Facebook or on Instagram. And, we'll have the list there for you to kind of link to. It'll also be on roosterstone.com. So don't forget to go over there. You can download our music there. You can also find the band on Spotify. Look up Rooster Stone. You can find them on all the major streaming sites. We just released a new album this summer, so go check that out too. But we'll have this playlist up, and you can tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you. Just give us a shout out. You want to comment on YouTube, you want to comment on, social media, or however you can find us, comment on us over at the website. Let us know what you think about the list. Tell us some of the songs you're listening to, because I guarantee we're going to use some of those songs in What Are We Listening To, because we're going to like it. We like all kinds of music. So thanks so much for listening today, and we'll see you real soon. Peace
Thanks.
and one love. Come on over to roosterstone.com, where you can book the band for any event you can imagine. Acoustic, full band, whatever your event may require. You can also email us to take online music lessons at an affordable monthly price. Don't forget to download our original music and like, follow, and subscribe to Rooster Stone across all social media platforms. Keep rocking out at
roosterstone.com.